So I'm very risk averse, but I've tried to take small actions that will just push me a little bit outside my comfort zone. And I'm getting better with that. My comfort zone is expanding as I take these tiny little risk experiments, as I like to call them. Because if I position them as experiments, they don't seem quite so daunting. So that's worked really well for me.
I love that. Actually, I have so many friends who are in the risk averse type, particularly the ones who are lawyers and such. And they,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just thinking about how that gives me hope for them, that they can expand their comfort zone at some point in their lives, you know?
Yeah, it's difficult though. It is a journey because I used to spend all my time thinking about the future and getting very anxious. I think I've lived with anxiety most of my life, and I think that's why I was so risk averse. And then taking very small steps to challenge it as experiments. If I think about like one of the big things, I had a lot of social anxiety, and so I would, at least I thought I did, I would avoid social situations and get stressed about them. And so I started experimenting by basically going into social, environments and not relying on a ridiculous amount of alcohol or something like that, and starting to experiment to see how it went. And it was a roller coaster. But now I feel pretty comfortable. That comfort zone has expanded, and I don't feel socially anxious anymore. I mean, maybe some people wish I did, but not.
It's kind of funny because you strike me as a very gregarious person and very, conversational, and you seem very at ease with people. And so,
That's very kind. Thank you. I think one-on-one, I feel much more comfortable. When it's a group situation, certainly that's something that I've struggled with in the past. So if you say, hey, we're going to go to a party later, won't that be fun? I'm like, no, that won't be fun. I can already feel a migraine coming on, and I think I might have to take to my bed straight away. Whereas now I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll not feel anxious about it. I'll go along, and I'm also very comfortable saying, okay, I'm done now. I'm going home.
which is good. I think there's so many. I mean, I'm in Finland, and in here it's a very strong drinking culture and such, and there's certain kind of things that are very ingrained into a lot of even like the professional social life in that sense. Um, and it's been an interesting thing trying to navigate my own space to be able to be like, well, you know what? No, not everything's for me. Like, it's okay. That's not for me. It's actually the reason why I don't live in the UK, I'm pretty sure. Like, I couldn't navigate the social scene being like a dry person. But yeah, it's a thing where you have to, at least respect yourself and understand that what are the things that you need, what are the things that you're comfortable with, and what are the boundaries of your comfort that you want to expand, and what are the boundaries that you want to maintain for yourself. And that's a learning. It's a constant learning,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the problem I had, and I don't know if this is true for because clearly I'm not a psychologist, but I do think that because I was so risk averse, my comfort zone was shrunk. I think that's the problem with living within your comfort zone. It tends to get smaller, and that worries me. And so I think, again, positioning things as experiments. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to try this thing that I wouldn't normally do and see what happens. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not doing bungee jumps. But I am trying, small, experiments here and there, which are just making sure that I'm continuing to grow as a person. Now, in terms of growth intellectually, that's easy because there's everything's available now. You can learn every day and love that. But as a person, putting yourself into slightly uncomfortable situations is incredibly empowering once you can get over that inertia of going, I really don't want to do this. So I try to do that. I haven't nailed it yet, but it's just something that I
I'm thinking,
keep.
have I pushed you into a slightly uncomfortable point, Mickey?
When you first invited me, I was like, hell no. What is she thinking? Has she not remember anything about me? Has she been drinking heavily or smoking something? This is absolute mad. And then again, I chatted with my guru, my wife, and I think I'd love to catch up with her and see how she's getting on, have a chat, and that could be fun. And it's also outside my comfort zone, so I should probably do it. Because what's the worst case? I mean, it's just dreadful. In which case, you can delete.
This is true. You have that power.
Deal,
There's nothing really there's nothing really wrong. But I do.
When you're a terrorist, person, but this has been okay so
I'm
far.
so glad I have not, completely petrified you at this point. But one thing though, I realized some of the most fantastic people I know, people who have the biggest hearts and they care so much and they're doing so many great things, are also amongst the most humble people that I know. And they feel uncomfortable talking about, things as if they're experts. Um,
Yeah.
actually, I had this one chat with this person, Lena. She's fantastic. She's been helping people in Palestine to be able to get employment elsewhere, like a couple hundred people that she's been able to mentoring, and get different spaces. I can link to that if you like. But she was, in the middle of our conversation saying, "Oh, she's not really an expert at this. She just does stuff." I'm like, I don't know anybody who does that, at all, let alone better, but there are these things where I would love for the people whom I see doing good things, just to be able to be seen for doing good things.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's difficult because if one of the things I really value about people is humility. I like people to feel
Mm.
comfortable not being the smartest in the room, which has never been a problem for me. But I know that there are people that find that quite difficult. I'm very enthusiastic about changing my mind. About you give me new evidence, I'll change
Mm.
my mind. I don't need to be a decision maker. So I think that comes quite naturally to
Mm.
me. Still, because deep down I'm 7 years old, I still very much admire super confident people.
Mm.
And I have to remind myself that not to conflate confidence with competence, which of course is something that we are tremendously good at. Um, yeah, it's something that I admire. I would love to be super confident, but I think if I was, it would be a very different experience, and I wouldn't want to lose my focus on other people. I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that are confident, and they're also wonderful, wonderful
Mm.
people. Um, Tom Hanks, no idea. Might be. Seems it. Might be an absolute dick. I've no idea, but he seems like a great guy. So I'm sure it does
If ever
exist.
I meet him, I'll fill you in and let you know.
Please do. Please do. Send him.